If you're struggling with breathing or digestion, I want to show you a flow called the flow of digestion. Now, I named this because I follow where the intestines lead us, but we're using different techniques that are going to help push the stomach down and manipulate the diaphragm so that you can freely breathe and allow your diaphragm to move along the esophagus and the stomach smoothly. I'm going to cover more of this anatomy, but we're going to go through this flow. First, we're going to start with light circles. Make sure we emphasize breathing. Now, I like to find the sternum. It's that hard bone at the center of your chest. Once you find that bone, you're going to drift down to the soft tissue. Now, keeping your fingertips together, we're going to just rotate in circles, putting pressure in the middle of the solar plexus. Now you can do this on the left side of the midline. You can do this on the right side of the midline. Really, we're starting to create a flow. So the stomach starts right in the middle, slightly to your left of the midline. And we're getting this tissue mobilized. As we start to move down, we can follow along where the small intestine goes, which is all scrambled in the middle. In that area, we're going to just follow along with small circles going from right to left. Now, I like to follow this right to left. We're gonna move all the way down towards the end of our colon. Now, you can spend as much time as you like here. I want to make sure we emphasize breathing. If you haven't covered the diaphragm breathing yet, go ahead and watch our past videos. But the diaphragm breathing is how we should be using the breath to help relieve tension in the gut. And we're gonna now move it towards the right side on the lower aspect. We're leading to the large intestine. The large intestine moves all the way up. So the goal here is just to mobilize this tissue over our digestive tract so we can go with the flow of digestion. Now we're bringing it up and crossing over along the rib cage. We can then bring it towards the left side. And I'm just keeping this smooth, gentle circle rotations going to the flow of digestion and where I then end towards the midline. Now you want to make sure you're sitting in a comfortable chair. You can also do this standing or laying down. Now, after I do the regular abdominal massage, we're going to do some glides down the diaphragm and the abdomen as well. So I will typically go from left side, gliding along the rib cage, right side, gliding along the rib cage. You could do this 2 to 5 times. We're just warming up this tissue as we're going to keep getting deeper to help manipulate and mobilize our stomach. Now, we're going down the left side, we're going down the midline, and we're going down the right side. If any of this causes sharp pain, you may want to take a pause and just back off the pressure. But it's really slight, gradual pressure, and we're moving everything in this downward position. So once you have this flow and you're practicing your diaphragm breathing, and as I mentioned, I'm emphasizing this diaphragm breathing all throughout this exercise. So this whole time I've been talking, I want to make sure that you're utilizing your breath. If you haven't, that's okay. Get back into your routine. So once we mobilize, glides down the rib cage, glides down the stomach, we're then going to manipulate the diaphragm. Now this can look different. We're going to first put this pressure. Now it may look like I'm hooking under the rib cage. If it's super tight, it might be difficult to get your fingertips underneath the rib cage. But ideally, we want to start using these fingertips together. See how they're in a line? That same pressure we put in the middle is now going to drift down the rib cage, and we're going to apply some pressure. Now we can hook under there and just practice our breathing. So as I have that pressure, towards the left side of the rib cage, I'm going to take my diaphragm breath. Now, as you notice this, you might find some tightness or resistance as you breathe in, because your abdomen should be pushing out with the diaphragm breath. As you exhale, you should feel you can get a little bit deeper underneath the rib cage, or some gradual movement as you start to loosen up this structure. This structure can be mobilized in different ways. Right now, we're just applying pressure, pinning down the tissues underneath the rib cage. We're working towards getting that diaphragm mobilized as we're breathing. Now, if you feel that movement, that means you're doing it right, and you're feeling your diaphragm move against your hands as you're able to get a little bit deeper into that rib cage. Now, I would work this all the way down the left side, as low as you can. We're then going to work it back up. So this is one way, and you're gonna do this on both sides. Now, I'm showing the pin, meaning we're getting our fingertips hooked under our rib cage, breathing in, finding areas of discomfort, and trying to breathe it away. We're gonna work it all the way down and all the way back up. Now, as you continue to practice this, your shoulders might get a little tired. I always throw in some shoulder rolls to help get that blood flow restored. And I wanna cover the other techniques. So we can do the same thing with that pin of getting the fingertips underneath the rib cage, but then we can sort of glide, putting pressure, massaging up and down along the rib cage. You want to be underneath the rib cage, and you're massaging that structure as you breathe. Now, we're going to try to do this with our shoulders relaxed. You're going to do it all the way down, all the way up. And you're doing it on both sides. So if you're following along, you might feel areas of tenderness or discomfort. If you're having tightness within your rib cage, that might be some signs that you're having diaphragm restriction. We need to mobilize those structures. Now, I do this hands-on in my office, and teaching this online so that we can help get an effect on this diaphragm. Also understanding the breathing that makes a major difference in the way we control our health and all of our organs that are connected here. Now, that was the gliding up and down. We can also do circles. So as I'm pinning underneath the rib cage, I'm putting pressure, doing circles to massage this rib cage. Now, as you're breathing, you should feel that expansion. You should feel that relaxation of your diaphragm. You're gonna keep working this. It might take a few times to get this technique more comfortable, but I like to use this before eating, as I say, prepping for digestion. And I want to add one final touch to this, which is a stomach pull down. Now, we've worked on this a couple times, but one of the main ways that I really emphasize getting a good, clean stomach pull down is to apply 2 breaths. Now, you could do multiple glides down, but when we're putting enough pressure to really affect the stomach tissue or the abdomen, getting that tissue to grab down onto the stomach, we want to be very precise. So I like to be on the midline, slightly to the left in the soft tissue region. I take a breath in, and then I go in with pressure, slightly gliding down But I'm gonna hold that pressure and I'm gonna take another breath. Sitting tall, we're going to exhale and glide this pressure downwards. Now, that pressure going down towards your belly button, it shouldn't be sharp. You might feel some tension, some pressure, and it might be difficult at first, but the whole goal is we're dropping the stomach below the diaphragm to help aid the flow of digestion. This works well before you eat. Sometimes people use it after if they happen to have an episode of bloating or any tension. So if you have any questions with this or you're having difficulty, pain with any of these techniques, please reach out. And I hope that this helps get you breathing better, digesting better, and also find out all the gut bacteria, all the components that might be causing inflammation in your body. Have a great day.